Place the transmission.
Someone should go on YouTube and figure out if we're actually live streaming this meeting. Go to youtube.com, search for.
Did you make it public?
Yeah, it's a public, like IEEE USU is streaming it. And I think the name, like try searching USU IEEE, and it should be AVC Meeting 1/31/18, if I named it right. But test. IEEE. Yeah, pull out your phones, like try and search it. We'll see if it's working. The idea is that we're going to record the meeting so that people aren't here can go back and look at it. And when we forget everything we talked about, or I'll go back and look at it, we can.
And you guys are live.
We are. Cool. And there must be, oh, is that your voice?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That means this microphone array actually has some range on it. This is just a beautiful angle of me and Skylar. We did come find a taller chair. But cool. Let's see. I'm glad to see so many people came after the first meeting. How about we do some quick introductions? Can we do that? Like, to know a few more people? Let's start around the room. If you could say your name, what you're studying, what year you are in school. Let's just do that real quick. Yeah. No, let's just say it.
I'm Trent Smith. I'm in double E, and I'm in my senior year, and I'm also starting my graduate studies.
Yeah, over here.
I'm Brock Redman. I'm in biological engineering, so a little bit of a different thing. And I'm a freshman, so mostly here to learn.
Right. Nate?
Nathan Tipton, computer engineering senior year, but I'll be doing my master's.
Ian Colbert, electrical engineering. I'm a junior.
Dan?
Dan Cordian, mechanical engineering. I'm a sophomore.
Nice. What are you guys?
I'm Chelsea Brinkrout. I'm a junior in computer science.
Sweet.
I'm Kobe. I'm a sophomore in electrical engineering.
Cool.
I'm John Roger, and I'm a freshman.
Okay.
I'm Sebastian Heltzer. I'm a junior in electrical engineering.
All right.
Reese Hatch, junior, electrical engineering.
Yeah. How about you?
Trevor Welch, junior electrical engineering.
Sweet. We'll go down back row.
Yeah. Jared Scott. I'm kind of a junior in mechanical engineering, but I'm switching to computer science or computer engineering. I'm quite excited. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Wes Kolsky, I'm a freshman in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Stephen Bree, sophomore in the league.
Sophomore electrical engineering.
Okay.
Derek Withers, junior in electrical engineering.
You in the back.
Peter Hansen, sophomore in electrical engineering.
Sweet.
Morgan DeRochers, junior in electrical engineering.
I'm Terrence Jarrett. I'm junior in electrical.
All right. And then the new guys that just came in, we're just introducing ourselves.
Matt Crum, electrical engineering.
Okay.
I'm Brad, and I'm a freshman in engineering.
Sweet. Spencer.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I'm Spencer, computer engineering.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, guys. Again, I'm Taylor Peterson. I'm a graduate student in computer engineering, and yeah.
And then I'm Skylar Kelly. I'm a graduate in computer engineering as well.
Yeah, it's intimidating looking at myself while we're recording. But anyway, for those who just walked in, yeah, we're recording this lecture so you can come back and watch it later another time. But the plan, we actually have an agenda this time. Let me pull up the screens. Screens should turn on. Team. Sorry, people on the video won't be able to see it. So we have a wiki. A wiki is going to be the center of our communication. And if you search for, what's it, USU AVC Team Wiki, that will probably help. There we go. USU AVC Team Wiki. There might be a different arrangement of those words that you can search, but you can pull up this. So what do we know about wikis? That's a great thing about wikis.
Anyone can edit it.
Anyone can edit it. And that's like the worst thing that your history teacher said was about them, right? Like anyone can edit it, so it's not historically accurate, but it's great for engineering and collaboration and storing data. And so this is hosted by Utah State University. And if you have an A number and a logon, you can edit this page. I think, like you log on with your A number. And one of our goals is to get everyone on the team access to this wiki, so we can start collaborating and storing information and doing our planning for the wiki. That goes back to the lab management team. Which, how many of you filled out the survey from this past week? All right, a bunch of you guys. Yeah, we had great, awesome feedback from that. That was really good. That got me and Skylar way more excited. That so many other people were excited about this team. So that's why we're back here just a week later. But anyway, the wiki, one of the things we want to try out is having meeting notes, and maybe another time, I don't know if we have time right now to like actually take action items, but we have a small agenda and goals. Our goals today are to get new members familiar with current hardware and software, and to also form the basis of teams, like the lab management team, hardware team, software team, and then also the systems overview team. But yeah, first off, any questions right now, I guess? It's my habit from teaching, is like the first thing I do is ask if you ask questions. Okay, I'll stop then. Skylar, what should we do now?
Okay. So I figured it sounded like people were interested in kind of hearing about what we had from last year, just as kind of a idea or like a base to start building off of, not to necessarily continue on, but to kind of get some technical know-how of what kind of where we've started and stuff. So I brought our car from last year again, and I figured I'd kind of just talk about some of the main parts of the system and how it all runs, just to hopefully get you excited. I brought a bunch of extra hardware and stuff to show you what we have that we didn't implement, that we could use, or just to kind of help kind of get the brainstorming going as well. So I'm going to switch over here.
What's that?
So, I had a terminal open, but I couldn't find it. Apparently it's extended.
Extended desktops.
So
you can hide anything.
I think we mentioned this last time, but so the car right now, we're using it's called a TK1. So it's built by NVIDIA, and so it's like dedicated to do really high-end stuff. So it's got a nice GPU on it, not super nice, but like a decent GPU and a good processor. And so that's right here in the middle. As you can see, we have two of them. This one wasn't used last year. The year before they had both of them. They did have some clock syncing issues, but got those pretty ironed out.
Yeah.
But so we have two of these boards that we can develop with and build either another small one or a big car.
Oh no.
And so on the board, we can put a full OS. And so right now we have Ubuntu on there. And so most of the time we just SSH or log into it and run it remotely. But ROS itself basically just runs as commands. So to start the whole system, so you start the core of ROS, and so that's kind of just like the main central master. And so this will communicate with everything. So the master is running, and so it'll communicate with the sensors, it'll communicate with the wheels and the motors and all that. So so we've started the core, so now it's just sitting there, not really doing anything important. So then, so with ROS, you have launch files that start new nodes, okay? So each piece of hardware is essentially a node. So you've got like a sensors node, you've got a like a motors node, and so on. And so the launch file, so we have one that goes through and launches all the nodes in one file. And so that's not super important. So anyway, so you'll launch each piece, and kind of jumping as a side note. So the hardware we're using a VESC motor controller. That's right up here. And so Ross had a package that communicates with the VESC controller. And so that's why we chose to use that one, is because it integrated really well. And so Ross communicates to the VESC controller, and then the VESC controller communicates with the actual like turning of the wheels and the motion of the motors. And so, so in order for it to run, so it checks to make sure the VESC is available. Let that boot up real quick. Okay. And so that should start everything. So now we have a core and we have all the nodes running.
Also, I'll mention that ROS, we talked about last week, right? ROS, it stands for the Robotics Operating System. It's open source code. And there's a lot of work that other people put into this. And we've kind of come in and taken the parts that we need and stuff that we can find online and combined it into something that actually works. It's like so like all this stuff that you see, like it wasn't actually written by us. That's intimidating anybody. Like all of this stuff are tools out there that we're using and implementing, and it's things that like big companies are like looking at now. It's like the hardest part of like any hardware project is trying to get them all interface, right? Sending data between them. ROS is the key that we found to unlock the power of this car. So
Right.
Dana knows a lot about ROS and the vision of ROS. So I don't know. Do you have any comments on why we?
Yeah, I would just say it's not an operating system. I'm not sure why they call it that.
Oh, good point.
But,
Good point. Yeah.
Basically, like I said, you just have the ROS core, which is kind of like a server that just manages stuff. And then each one of those ovals is a program or a task that's running independently. And what the core does is it provides a way to publish messages and subscribe to messages. So for example, you have one node that accepts input from the joystick, and it publishes a topic, which is the terminology, that is the controls of the joystick. And then the motor controller might subscribe to that topic and then use those commands to make the motor move, for example. So that's really all ROS is a way for several like threads or programs to communicate with each other in a standardized way. That also means that they have a lot of standard packages that you can reuse and just plug and play.
Yeah. So that's kind of part of what I was hoping to get out of this, is to show you that it might look a little messy, but it's pretty simple to understand. When you jump in and start reading tutorials and stuff, it can kind of seem a little overwhelming, but it's really not. It's just kind of new terminology. But so like Dana was saying,
If you click the hide leaf topics, it decolors really well.
There we go. They're still kind of hard to read, but the arrows are, subscriptions and publishing.
Yeah.
There's
so like
details there.
Dana was saying, the ovals are like the nodes, and so they publish or subscribe to different things. So they say, hey, I want to listen for these kind of messages, or here's these kind of messages if you want them. And so then these squares are what kind of messages they're publishing. And so as you can see really nicely just like how this one is sending to that one, and that one's here, and these two are communicating back and forth and up and around. Anyway, the details of exactly what they're doing is super important. Down here you've got your sensors. So this is the sensor data. And so our laser is sending that data, and then our mapping program is listening to that. And so that's pretty much what's going on. So this little guy takes like the laser data and helps map it on to the map as well, kind of transforms it to the same point of view. So that's what we're using as kind of the software backend. It has a lot of algorithms built in for like pathfinding and planning and things like that. And so we just used those packages. We didn't really develop much of those. We So I was hoping to be able to show more of kind of the OpenCV stuff we did with the stop sign recognition, because that one we were able to put in and modify some things kind of down deeper. It was really cool to see that work, but anyway, I couldn't find it in the code.
Yep.
So any questions up to this point? Okay.
Can I comment a little more on Ross?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Do you guys have like a good place to store your code, like GitHub or something like that?
So so far, or in the past, we've just been using GitHub. We've got a repo. I guess Dana's is kind of the base repo, but then a couple of us have forked it. And really, the most up-to-date one is on the board, which isn't necessarily the safest.
If anyone knows
We
Git
haven't really
and
pushed
like
it.
the importance of version control, that's actually really bad practice, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so.
A little bit.
Yeah,
So
that's why I want to form a lab management team, because I want to take especially the less experienced students and like they could help the overall team a huge amount if we could get set up with more repos and better way to manage our code. Rather than using like GitHub, I was thinking about using GitLab. That's something that I've been using at work, and it's kind of like gives us even more control over how we manage our code. Who here has used Git before, actually? That's the cool thing, is like we can all learn to use it. It's just the best way to manage code revisions and branches on our own code bases. And then the lab management team can also really help a lot with just getting our networking up, getting the Linux distributions all like install on all our computers, and managing the wiki, managing all our code repo. Basically, they'd be the administrators to like help us organize all that stuff. But anyway.
If I could suggest something.
Sure.
In my work, we use GitKraken.
Oh yeah.
To interface, you can use like GitLab and GitHub and I think Bitbucket with it.
Oh yeah, is that like a UI?
Yeah, it's just a UI for it.
Yeah, definitely. So we can talk more about that later. I'm really excited to like actually standardize the way we store our code, because that's something that's going to help us a lot. And I think it's fun. I don't know. I'm an engineer. I really like being organized. So, but more questions on the code, where we're storing it or anything like that? No. Okay. When it comes to ROS, this is the type of stuff, if you're on the software team, that we want you to be working on. It's to develop more code to run in the ROS environment. And ROS actually will run C++ or even Python code. It's really simple, but you develop your own node, and then it can be incorporated like pretty seamlessly into an existing code base or into existing ROS core. So if you want to learn more about ROS, everyone that's on the software team needs to know about ROS tutorials. Dana, you want to tell us about why ROS tutorials are awesome? I don't know.
You just gotta do them. Like that's how you get familiar. It's nice because they let you kind of play around with some stuff that's not all just reading. So I think it's really important just to get through them as quickly as possible if you want to really get involved, because until you have the understanding, it's hard to contribute a lot. And I will say that it is a lot easier than it first looks. But once you get some of the terminology down and some of the syntax, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So ROS tutorials, that's a great place for all of us to be starting. Okay. And maybe if you're not specifically on a software team, great place to be. But I've said that. Back to you, Skylar.
Yeah. So I was hoping to be able to show some kind of simulation stuff, but it's not starting that correct either. I don't know what I forgot. Anyways, we'll scrap that.
Okay. So I guess we'll go into talking about teams then. So like the car runs basically using ROS, and it's running different nodes, one for the laser, another one for the motor controller, another node that's purely software that's running navigation algorithms, another one that's it's posting checkpoints for it to navigate through on maps. But yeah, that's the basics of ROS, and that's what the software team is going to be all about, developing those algorithms. Okay, so we need a lot of help with computer science and this type of development, and also interfacing with sensors and hardware.
So I brought a bunch of sensors and hardware to try to get people who are interested in that kind of excited. Do you know what that is?
This one is an IMU. Yep. Who knows what IMU stands for? Inertial measurement unit. Yep, it can measure acceleration, any direction, gyroscope, and magnetic north. Yep.
So then this one's just a GPS. So this one we kind of purposely didn't use because we got extra points for not using GPS in our races before. But we do have a GPS sensor that we can use and collect data from if we so desire.
I think the rest of them are kind of just GPUs, and
Wasn't that one something else?
that's the interface. That's an FTDI chip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have.
So then this is just another camera, some more OpenCV stuff. This one's got a 2-axis, I think it would be called, motor, so it can turn sideways and turn up and down. Yeah. And so that one could help us get more range in what we can see and what we're aiming at. So that would be really cool. We had some kind of base code for that, but that has some more work. So we have a real-time clock. That was kind of some clock syncing issues. Ross does a lot of timestamp stuff since it's sending messages. It does a lot of time checking and things like that. And so we were hoping with the real-time clock we could get better estimates of how long it took between like messages, so we could know better our distance and where we were on the map. So we've got, I think, 2 real-time clocks. Inside the car we have encoder sensors. So they count how many times the wheels pass the sensor. So we've got all sorts of sensors that we can pull data from and use that aren't being used to their full potential. So again, so final thing, we've got a whole second chassis that really doesn't have any modifications to it yet. And then I already showed the second full processing board too. So we already have a lot of hardware. We're not limited to just use this though. We're welcome to, especially for like the larger size one, we'll probably definitely need some more hardware. But just to show you, we've got stuff we can play around with, whether it's used or not in the final race, doesn't matter. But we've got lots of resources for you to try things out on.
Right. So we're leading into this so we can talk about the different teams on the team, because we want to organize in different groups. Oh, here's everyone's email, in case you want to see that. 30 responses. Here's our first names. Here's the popularity of last names. So distribution. Yeah, if anyone's interested, here's the year you are in school. So we've got like good distribution. It makes sense we would have more sophomores and juniors. But yeah, it's usually because like the freshmen aren't on the email list yet. So if you guys know any freshmen or younger students that want to be involved, let them know. But yeah, we didn't standardize the names of everyone's stuff.
And electrical engineering with a capital E and a lowercase e are 2 separate majors. So it's spread it out even more. So. Yeah.
So what we're talking about now are teams, right? So we have the system designs team, the lab management team, software development team, hardware development team. And yeah, we have a lot of enthusiastic people. I'm really excited. So what we're focusing on right now, talking about, is the lab development team. And we had 15 people say that this was software development. And so that team would be most likely headed by, well, Sky would be the advisor, and we would have multiple team leaders working under that team to lead different parts of the development. Okay, within the software team, we also need to develop software to run the big car and interface sensors for the big car and the smaller car. So we have multiple different areas. There'll be some overlap, but that's what the software development team would be working on. Other questions about the software development team? No? All right, here's exciting. Whoa, what happened? Oh, sorry, my arrow keys don't want to go the right way. Let's talk about hardware team. Hardware development, obviously, we need to revamp this car. We could try and think of ways to make it lighter. We can also make it more mobile. And we need the help of definitely a lot of mechanical engineers and other types of probably electrical engineers for interfacing the motor systems. Like, it's really broad, right? We can go in either direction. But hardware team, be a really fun place, especially when we try and build a bigger car. So I mean, that's the direction we all want to go. Okay. Questions there on the hardware development team? Yeah.
So is Ross, through that special component, controlling the motor completely with the algorithms that it has?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a USB connection to the computer, and like Ross took care of all of the USB interfacing and like the packet transfer and stuff like that, which is like could take a long time for anyone to write. So it's just, that's how cool it is. Okay, hardware development team. And so with these teams, like we want you to try and be thinking about where your primary focus will be as a member of this team, but we definitely will let you bounce around, because especially the system design team at the top, let's jump to that one. Systems design team will be the people in charge of making like key decisions, and it will be kind of like a roundtable meeting where hopefully like me and Scar aren't the only ones talking the whole time. And we discuss the goals for all the aspects of our team. And Randy Christensen will also weigh in on that. And it's just anyone that wants to be involved and knows that they want to have a long-term commitment to this team are welcome to join that team as well as another team. Questions on the systems design team? And like easy enough, right? This one, oh, dang, the arrow keys. Yeah, lab management team. I don't know why, but I'm really excited about this team. Like, it's managing a team this size is going to be really challenging, and we need a lot of help to try and keep everyone on the same page and trying to standardize the way we share code, the way we write documents, the way we collaborate online, the way we document things on the wiki. This lab management team is a perfect place if you're a newer student and just want to start contributing at this low level and work your way up. And like, you won't be any less important or anything like that. I'll still be invited to come with us to the competition, but I need a lot of help because I want to try and lay the groundwork for good code management, good collaboration, and good long-term documentation. So if any of that excites you, I don't know. Is this supposed to excite you? I don't know if it is. I get excited about the idea of just like all this stuff. Like, we'll be setting up servers, setting up like Linux computers, and using Git a lot. So if that's something, if none of those things sound familiar to you, that's great, because that's where you need to be. We can train you with all that stuff. Okay. But these are the 4 teams we have thought of right now. And within each team, like area of study, there's going to be multiple groups, multiple things to be focusing on. And we feel like this is the best way to try and get everyone involved, right? What do you guys think? Has anyone been on a team like this and like have input to try and help us? Because like, this is the first time we're going from a small team to a bigger team, and we would like any input we can to like try and help you guys contribute and be involved. Any ideas? Yeah.
I've been on a team like this, but I've been for like 5 minutes, so I would put more input.
Sure, we're recording it and posting it live to YouTube, so you can go back and watch this whole meeting. Tell your friends, and we'll tell future group members to learn about that. Other ideas, like,
so our hope with the teams is to help spread out the responsibilities and get everybody involved, because I mean, there's plenty to do, but sometimes it's just hard to know where to do. And so if we kind of divide up into kind of smaller teams, it's a lot easier to manage and have people work together better, and less people kind of get left out and left behind. So I guess real quick, can we do this? How many of you were interested in, so we're going to go through each of the 4 teams.
We can just click the responses to find out.
But I don't know names to faces yet, so I'm curious who's here from that list. So who is interested in the software one? Which is surprising, because everybody was at least somewhat interested.
Right.
Are we trying to raise our hands to the one that we're most interested, or?
No, if you answered the somewhat or yes interested on the software one, raise your hand.
Yeah.
It should be.
Do you have a comment?
Right?
Can you be involved in more than one?
That's what we're hoping.
I have a lot to add to like the hardware design, but I'd like to focus on software.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Ideally, I don't want to like split people up strictly and like stick you in one team, because I think that's a big goal of this, is to let you experiment with other things, but we also want to use your knowledge for the things you're good at. And so I don't know how the logistics of all that is going to work out, but my hope is that we can be involved in multiple teams. That like the lab management team can help set stuff up, but I mean, we're engineers, we want to build stuff too. And so hopefully they can get their hands into the car and help, or the cars, and help add components and things too, while still helping to keep a foundation that we can all collaborate with. So the hope is that you can be on multiple teams, but
with that, I think ultimately your ability to be on multiple teams is going to be judged by your time.
availability.
Yeah,
Because if you're
that's
not
also true.
committing a whole lot of time, there's not any way to contribute multiple areas.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just not possible for you to
Yeah.
contribute.
So we'd like you to pick like a primary that you can kind of commit to really basically go deep in and kind of strive to be an expert at, but you're welcome to contribute to the other teams and try to learn from them and do things like that. Does that make sense?
Are we thinking about having the individual teams meet at different times so that you can attend the different groups if you want?
I mean, that's left to be seen. Good to see like who's involved and what they think.
If we have big enough teams, I think that would be fine. for
Probably a
one.
good idea.
And I think that would be good, kind of like we're talking about, to be able to be involved with multiple teams. The only problem is that if you do want to be involved with multiple teams, that could add up to a lot of meetings. So
Yeah.
What would be nice is if we could use like a combination of Git and the wiki to sort of like distribute tasks
Mhm.
in the sense that like if you're working for more than one team, it's like, oh, I'll pick up this task on the software team and this task on the hardware team.
Right.
You're like assigned a specific item of work and you can turn it back in through that same medium.
That's right. Yeah. Like that's the point of using GitLab and other like team management tools. So we can collaborate that way. Still didn't say the word right. But every time we meet, we want to have a group meeting like with everybody, whether you're hardware, software, or anyone. And that way we can share those meetings and say, hey, we really need some help on this. Just like we're short on hands or something like that. So you can volunteer that way. Okay. And then we probably break off after that to go to different meetings or stuff like that.
I think there's kind of different options to that too that we've talked about. So we could
Yeah.
have like 2 every other week, have like the whole everybody meet together and discuss like, because obviously the software and the hardware have to have like implementation interfaces between each other. So there's definitely going to have to be some communication there. But just as an example, everybody needs to communicate together. But we could do like everybody meets together every other week, but then smaller teams meet possibly weekly, or do weekly meetings of everybody meets together and splits off into the group they feel like helping that week, something like that. So I think that'll kind of be decided by the teams.
Yeah. Yep.
What are the systems designers doing besides the roundtable meetings?
Probably not much. So definitely won't be on more than one team. Like basically we need like we're going to be having a meeting with all the team leaders, and basically we just want to know if you, even if you don't want to be in a leadership or team or technical lead, if you still want to be involved. So that's kind of what that was. We just threw together the survey and kind of threw them all in there. It just felt like that was a good category. So definitely evolution. There's room for evolution in there.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the whole point of a system design team to interface between the hardware and the software team and
Yeah.
between the lab team?
Sure.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone, well, yeah, playing
Yeah.
nice. And obviously, like you said, the hardware and software need to go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
they should be finding those interfaces.
Yeah.
It's I feel like we're lacking in overall architecture right now
Architecture for the team.
for the team as well as for a plan.
Yeah.
Like if we're planning, we technically, if we're gonna build a big car as well, then you're splitting into 6 groups, not just 3 groups.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, we have a lot of people here, but with as many groups as we're talking about breaking into, we're slowly narrowing the group size down very quickly.
That's
Quickly narrowing the group size down.
That's definitely true. So we have options.
Just a thought.
Yeah, that's good. So I think part of the overall design is kind of like what Randy mentioned last week. We need to kind of follow the design process, which typically is like you get your requirements, and then once you know your requirements, then you kind of set your engineering requirements that are measurable, and then you have like a pre-design review where you go do your research, come back and say, okay, this is what we plan to do, and then so everybody has to come together to kind of all agree on that, make sure it all work together, and then you can actually start like designing. But that pre-design review is where like the system overview really comes. So yeah, right now we definitely don't have any sort of structure because that's what we're hoping to build this year from scratch. So I don't know if that helps or hinders, but any other questions?
Yeah, we're going a little long, so we don't want to keep anyone too late. Let's see. Where are meeting notes? Team forming with leads. Okay. Like this is something we were discussing it earlier, like how we want to do it, and we were just like, we'll have to play it by ear, see how many people are here. So
if we had our 4 teams, who in here would be interested in leading one of the 4 teams? Can you just raise your hand?
So what are the 4 teams?
So if we have, so lab management, which is like setting up servers, maybe kind of like, I don't know,
Right,
merging
sure,
pull
like
requests,
everything's,
code
like documented and all that.
Yeah, wiki additions, server management for the team, code base.
Maybe a little bit of like PR as well.
Yeah, that'd be really helpful too if they'd be willing to do that.
I'm very interested in advising that team.
Yeah,
but
so Taylor will likely be the lead for that one.
Mhm.
But definitely I'm sure we could have like a co-lead as well to kind of take over the reins after him. If there were.
Yeah.
But so we have the lab team, which is kind of server maintenance, kind of adminning the Slack channel.
And making sure everyone else is up to speed on like each team, like all teams, everyone on all teams should know how to use all these tools. That'll help us train everybody.
Yeah.
But,
and then software. So software we could split into like a sensors and an algorithms one, or kind of like subdivide 2. Again, we could end up splitting ourselves too thin.
I think that just happens naturally.
Yeah. So basically a software lead. So if we had Taylor as like the lab lead, then we'd still have a software lead, a hardware one, and then we could still have a systems overview or like a systems one.
I just kind of envisioned that the systems overview one would just be like the other team leads as well as our advisor.
Yeah, I think that's probably best. No one person has to feel too much load.
Yeah. So I guess let's say who would be interested in being a software lead but like a software lead or a hardware lead. Kind of being the go-to guy for messages and keeping the team in. Okay.
Maybe we should ask like who's interested in being on the team. I don't know.
I think maybe we like split, so like clear distinction is hardware and software.
Yeah.
And then just as
we got these rolly chairs, we can just move.
Yeah. How about?
You want to try to roll?
Sure.
So if you want your primary focus to be software, let's go to this side. If you want your primary focus to be hardware, go to this side.
Yeah. How about if you want to just
you got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Bounce
pick one or the other for now.
Lab, you can come up here. Who wants to be on lab? You're interested in that? Cool.
Great.
We will do some great stuff. You're okay.
I'd say software. Basically, you stick the sensor on and then you have the software. So
Lab management. That would be awesome. I could.
I'm trying to organize this, but everything is software.
Yeah. Like the lab management team is going to see all the code moving back and forth, and we'll hopefully get a really good idea.
Or we're going to be on a team.
Yeah. No one feel bad, but anyone specific wants to help us get this team. Yeah. Not bad.
Okay. So from the hardware side, who would be interested in like building the chassis and like either like machining the chassis or like I don't know, wire configuration,
construction.
Okay.
Should we split them up?
Making a car, you know?
Building a car.
Okay, who would be interested in like researching sensor hardware, maybe doing a little bit of interfacing with the hardware or with the sensors, data collection?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Oh, is this just like the middle ground?
Yeah. And then who would be interested in like motor controllers and like really optimizing like the speed and the efficiency of the motor and the angles and accuracy, odometry kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So then software, who's interested in algorithms? Like pathfinding and communication maybe.
Cool.
Okay. Who is interested in, let's say, using the sensor data? So like parsing through it, figuring out what in the world it means. Okay. Who would be interested in implementing computer vision into a car? I guess I can still look at both sides, but
we need cameras pointing at you guys so we can keep you all committed. But
and then
this is like still really
who
flexible.
would want to do like a machine learning implementation of some sort on?
Nice.
Okay.
People over here too, all over the place.
Good. So yeah, so we do have a really split.
One thing that you might want to consider is parts of these roles will be interface between if we did two projects, like your machine learning, your pathfinding, a lot of those things can be between both cars.
Right. So
sensor data as well.
Yeah.
The sensors will be different.
So jumping back to your comment earlier, that might help us kind of, maybe our software teams could necessarily be like one between the two, but then have two hardware teams kind of.
Yeah.
One's like the big hardware and one's more the smaller hardware. One's speed, one's big, I don't know. But so that would kind of bring us down to closer to maybe 5 teams.
With the number of people we have and with the difficulty of working on like software with this many people though, it might actually work out to have 2 teams that are like working together and coordinating when they have a success and then they can share that, but then they can kind of take 2 different paths and you can see like what's working and what is
2 separate projects.
Yeah.
I think definitely sensor interfacing and then using the data. So like algorithms, computer vision, machine learning should be separate. So yeah, sensor interfacing and then using the data.
Oh yeah.
Sensors.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Is there any topics that we haven't talked about or mentioned that you're interested in? That you split and I didn't say or something. Okay. Well,
so how about commitments for everyone that wants to be involved? To prove that you are really interested in this, if you want to be involved with software, start looking into ROS, right?
We'll have a pop quiz next time.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just kidding.
Hardware teams, if you guys could start doing research on vehicles and different types of autonomous
What's the website of like the competition so we can like know like what the specs are?
SparkFun
Yeah.
AVC.
SparkFun AVC is the best place to
Yeah. Do that. Yeah. So if we send out an email with like the competition that we're planning on doing, the GitHub repository that we have at the moment, what other resources, the wiki that we have as well. Anything else that would be helpful to send out?
When are we going to start the Slack channel?
We will start that right after this.
Yeah.
If you want to be,
what time are we at?
If you want to be involved in one of these teams, but also want to help admin all this other stuff, come talk to me, got a couple other guys, and we'll probably be trying to get everyone set up on Slack and also getting code repos and all of our documentation together. So, but anyway, everyone put their, if you didn't fill out this survey and fill out the email section at the bottom. Oh, where? Yeah, but there's an issue where if we send out too many invitations to Slack, they will block us from sending out anymore. So we wanted to make sure you're absolutely certain you want to give us your email before we invited you. That was what the descriptive text, like there was descriptive text on there. I was trying to say it in the nicest way possible. Just like only put your email twice or here if you really want to be invited. But we'll invite you all and we'll start having conversations there and post questions, post thoughts, like say that you reviewed stuff. Like we all want to start contributing, okay?
Yeah, where'd you say that, where, is it on the wiki, the survey?
No, we emailed it out last week, so that's why you didn't get it. How about we put it on the wiki? Let's do that. You guys want to see how easy it is to edit the wiki?
So I think we're pretty much going to be done. So for the last 15 minutes, you're A, welcome to leave. B, you can come talk to probably me if you have specific questions or suggestions. And then C, if you're interested in helping with the lab, what's it called? Lab management team. Then come talk to Taylor and he'll kind of.
I have a lot of jobs, a lot of stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, because we want to get this lab management team going as soon as we can, so we can have that base for everybody to collaborate and start working on stuff and bring everything together in an organized way, so we can get moving really fast.
When are we gonna meet again?
Nah, we're not gonna meet
Right. Is this Saturday too? I don't know.
There you go. It's on the wiki. Refresh the page.
When should we meet?
I think we need more surveys. Are Wednesday nights good for people?
We had a pretty good turnout tonight.
Yeah. Let's do another next Wednesday at 5:30, and we will try and brainstorm. And we can use Slack, and we'll let you guys know ahead of time what we plan on doing. Okay? Does that sound good?
So essentially, homework for the software people is start working on ROS, and homework for the hardware people is to start looking at specs for stuff and
yeah.
So we have nothing for a full-size car or like a one-person passenger.
And ideas for a full-size.
So we need yeah. Whether we want to
with a hammock instead.
Whether we want to start with like a Power Wheels car and build off that. That's what they used to do. Or like a go-kart.
Like Barbie
or
Jeeps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or machine it from scratch.
Is there weight classes for the?
There was a.
So that's something that we.
You can read last year's. They haven't posted this year's guidelines.
Yeah. So they haven't posted this year's, so we don't know exactly where we're going forward, which makes it hard. We don't know our strict requirements, but it hasn't changed too much over the past 2 years. So if you look at last year's, that's a rough estimate of what we're going for. But we don't have strict requirements yet, but as soon as they post it, we'll let you know. Hopefully it should be within a month or so. I did it last year. So, sorry, did you start a question?
No, I'm good.
Sorry.
You've got an infinite tunnel behind you.
Yeah, that's great.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah, so hardware, if there's cool sensors that we don't already have, that you think would be useful, we'd love to hear that too. That could probably go on either side. But sensors, motors, chassis, especially for the big one, we need everything. We're starting from scratch. So
are we looking to buy a frame as a whole, or are we trying to use like SolidWorks to design ourselves?
We can do either, or he already discussed that. Yeah. So are we all going to be invited to Slack now so that we can get through that then?
Yep. So
we'll do it.
Yeah. Yep. So lab management, if you can stay, and we'll probably try to get that done tonight. And then we can communicate freely. So
over here.
What version of Linux would you recommend?
I think we're on. Are we on 14? Is that what we're running?
Just find the long-term support version on the website.
Yeah. We used 14 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. So
we had problems with ROS. We're running ROS Link Indigo anyways. Try 14 if you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be a cool thing too, is to hack away and like get the bleeding edge like Linux and ROS on these, which they're kind of older boards, so they're not directly supported. But if you're interested in that, that'd be super cool too. So
yeah,
great idea.
And I'd say, like for the hardware people, if you find cool examples of stuff people done in the past, post on Slack. If people doing ROS tutorials have questions or did something cool, post it on Slack and everyone can kind of see what's going on and can help get stuff.
Spencer, is that you?
Like I said, we'll send out
Is that you?
yeah
Did you
wiki,
just do that?
and that has a lot of stuff about
Oh, sweet.
something. Totally lost. Never mind.
There's a lot of interesting information.
It has all
Yeah.
the
Has a lot of interesting
You
information.
can write
I was going somewhere with that, but I totally forgot.
All right.
Okay.
Everyone should be dismissed unless you want to hear me talk about lab management and stuff like that. Okay? Or you can come and talk with people.
There is an Aggie basketball game tonight for those that are interested.
All right.
I'm sure many of you don't know about it.
Perfect. You don't need too much.
So is everybody on the email
I
list?
want to try and get that server set up.
If you're not on the email list, make sure to come talk to us.
And, please get
Again, a little bit, but.
Okay, let's fine. So we have a server, we have the lab downstairs. We did it right.
a lot of ones.
Okay, you want to look at it?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. Are you guys here to listen to? Sweet. Yeah, we have the lab downstairs. Yeah, we can go look at it. Oh, that's something else we forgot to announce. So we told the department head that we are a really big team, and they're gonna try and move us to a bigger lab. So we're really? We just like hit on everything.
I just remember reading that in the email, I'm like, maybe it was on the ABC right now.
It did. But yeah, so we want to get a server set up and everyone can remote into. And so that'll involve us learning how to remote into computers on campus, how to access things like ports, and setting up stuff like that, which I feel like is somewhat simpler sometimes, like developing algorithms and basic sensors. There's usually more resources out there to help you out. So that's why I'm excited about it. But GitLab is just a really cool tool. I use it at work, and I'd be excited if we can get it working for us. So we would install that on a server, and whoever wants to lead that can try and help me get that running. And once that's running, we can get everyone added in as users, and we can then start teaching other people how to use Git, how to use these tools. The GitLab just has some great features, so we want to look into that. But besides that, whoever is working with me trying to keep this all under control is going to be just like kind of policing our code repos and watching the code move back and forth, helping people, like protecting the master branch, right? Like if you've used code repos before, there's always one branch that's master, which usually if you're on a big team like this, no one can touch it unless like 2 people approve it to be merged. Like,
I think code review should be a thing.
yeah.
Oh,
Code reviews is great.
110%.
So like that's something that we could implement as a team, and even if like
Great for resumes.
yeah, it'll really impress people. Like I know a few of us are like more advanced students, but I was thinking like younger students could really help with it too. But what are
I
your
have a
thoughts?
comment. So when I was on the team, our method for starting the car was to turn everything on, to boot up the laptop, to plug it in through Ethernet to the laptop, open up like 6 terminals, start the ROS thing, start that one, start all these different things, and you had to know like the exact commands and which modules to turn on, which ones weren't. So it was really hard to like just do it. And so I think that's something a lab management team could also do, is just set up easy access like scripts or something, just something you can click. Maybe you can tie it to like a button on the car where you just push a button and it goes.
Everything lights up.
Yeah.
So GitLab is like so what you can do with GitLab, which could actually solve that problem completely, it's called CIDI, continuous integration. Yeah. Continuous integration would be so cool. So this software actually is really expensive, unless you're cheap enough to put it on your own server. So if we will put it on our own computer, which will take some work by this team, we will be able to use some really advanced software and tools and have complete control over how we use it. So, Scott.
Sorry, does GitLab have that built in?
Yeah, continuous integration. Yeah, continuous integration is on here somewhere. Where do I go to?
Wait, so does it cost nothing if you use your own server?
Yeah, it costs nothing. My work does it, and I can't believe it. And they don't pay anything. So we could add as many users as we want, and it would just be really cool because we would get to see that side. Because the sad thing is, as we move through our careers, there usually isn't a group of people that are managing code and stuff like that, or version history, and we have to manage it ourselves. At least that's what I've seen on the project teams I've been on at my job. So we'll be learning skills to like how to set up a good project team and keep everyone managed. And I feel like this is a big enough job where like people can completely commit to managing the team in this aspect, and they'll take it most of their time. So, but that's not my goal. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. But where is continuous integration? Yeah, automate configuration management. So like if we can look more into this, we can actually set up, they're called pipelines. And every time someone commits their code, it actually checks their code for syntax errors and will compile it right there on the server. It's really cool. And if there's also a button on the website, because like GitLab you install on a server, and then what everyone does on the team is they just go to that website. We'll have to tell them what the website is, and then they can actually access all the code and stuff like that. But then they can use this GUI to actually learn how this, like they'll get much more familiar with Git faster if they're using a GUI. Who was the one that said that today in the meeting? Using a GUI will help you learn Git. They use another tool. But anyway,
I don't like the GUI.
yeah. But that's what my goal is for whoever wants to help manage the lab, is that we can get this up and running. We can integrate it with Slack. We can teach other people how to use Git. We can teach ourselves how to use Git. Yeah, that's the big thing. And I think it'd be way cool to do this tech. If we wanted to develop a tech standard for our team, we could make a repo or repository of code management. It's actually written. Has anyone used LaTeX before?
Share LaTeX.
Yeah. What's that?
It's like Overleaf.
Oh yeah. So like LaTeX cool because it's like writing a Word document, but like a programmer. So like you use code syntax to define how you want it to look on the page. And it looks beautiful. And because it's code, it works really well on version control. Version control can handle that well. So anyway, from setting this up to helping to make the wiki better, another thing that I want to do, I'm LDS, I'm the Word clerk in my Word. So like I really like having Word directories. I would really like to make a directory for our team. So lab management team would be helping us to make a page on this wiki with everyone on the team and try to organize us into some sort of tree. And I'd love to, if there were pictures too, but that's probably high hopes, right? But like if we could get to know everyone's names, that would be a big step towards getting our yeah, exactly.
Just have a camera everywhere.
Yeah, we'll just like videotape them as they come in.
Just gotta sit.
So-
Everyone's gotta sit in this corner of the room with a Zoom camera and just take pictures. Just press the new camera.
Exactly. So
And then afterward,
So this is my vision for the team and trying to manage the team. And so lab management might sound like a dumb idea. I don't know. Sounds cool. Now it might sound cool. I don't want too many people on the team, but like you guys can join whatever team else you want. But if you want to work with me to try and get stuff like this set up, I think that'd be awesome. And we need to start this immediately too, actually. So, because the sooner we can get this set up, the sooner we can get everyone else on the same page, hopefully. So who would be interested in helping me with stuff like this? You guys? Okay. Would anyone be interested in directly looking into GitLab and how to set it up on a server? Would anyone like to do that? You'll do that? Okay. I'm going to show you our computer downstairs. We inherited it from a professor that left. It's like got a solid state drive and stuff like that. So we were thinking about turning that into our server. We're going to wipe it and then restart. Do you know Linux very well?
I do not, no.
Okay, that's
I'm really planning on learning it.
That's okay. I was hoping to get a team where most people didn't know a whole lot of these things. That way, you can learn it. And
I know nothing.
yeah,
I've worked with web servers and stuff
I'm the
before.
same way.
I've set those up on computers.
that's exactly what I need.
Virtual ones.
If you can set that up and help us all get on board and make us all good admins, then we could really get going.
Yeah,
So-
I can definitely. I'd love to see what you do this.
Yeah.
Do exactly what I need to see.
Okay, we need to figure out if we need to wipe it or not. Like, we need to figure out if we can wipe it or someone else has code on there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very possible that we won't need to. It really just depends on the demands that we'll have on the server.
That's true.
Yeah.
I could see it being a not super demanding server, honestly.
You think so? If it's doing continuous integration and trying to run code though.
And then it might, yeah, that could be a different story.
Yeah, I can give you access to the computer immediately though, and we can try and do that. Besides that, I want to get you all access to the wiki and to Slack. Would anyone like to be my Slack go-to person to invite everyone to Slack? I'll make you an admin on Slack.
I will, but I don't know what Slack is.
Okay, Slack. That's okay.
We're all in this together.
I'm not the only one that's talking about this Slack.
You'll probably use Slack a lot.
Slack is awesome. That'll be our first goal is get you, like these guys, all of you guys onto Slack. IEEE Slack? We do actually. We don't use it for some reason.
Okay.
We can do it again. Want to be the admin for the IEEE Slack? All right, we can get that working again. But let's see, slack.com. No, it's probably USU AVC slack.com. Slack.com. Dang it. Do you remember how to get to Slack?
You found it.
Our Simon.
No, like
Just go to slack.com. And then find your workspace at the top.
maybe enter
Oh,
my
it's USU ABC team.
Oh, there we go.
Or you can just.
USU AVC team dot Slack.
Sorry.
That was a no.
Okay, just go straight. Oh, there you go. Got it.
Yes. Sign in. We have our own thing. All right. I think I did.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do it. If you wanted to like go through.
Emails are so long. This might be bad. Oh,
For sure.
you know how bad it is to have the same password for everything? Sure works a lot.
It's like we're all around.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So this is Slack, and we have way too many channels. We probably need to clean that up. But it is just the go-to place for all communication for teams because it will save the last 10,000 messages that were ever sent. So everything for the past 2 years is still on the channel. People that join the team later can still see it. So administration, manage members. Invite new members. Let's get you 5 on there. Look at this. That's kind of cool.
Because I know that I messed up.
There's an admin.
I want your full name. Like, yeah. Well, I just want your name.
Like that? Middle name, too?
No, you're good.
Okay.
And it should be capitalized properly. I'm a ward clerk.
Let's see.
Have you ever searched by phone number on LDS tools?
No. Does it work?
It's like you have to type it in exactly how they typed it in, and it's not a standard form. It's still written in.
Oh, you're right. Actually, I sent it as in my word. Yeah, I have a piece of paper that says exactly how you enter the address and phone number. Yeah.
I noticed that, like I checked.
Oh, you get bounced?
Numbers, what?
The one nice thing about LDS tools, though, if someone calls you and you have that download, you just call someone from your board.
Which phone do you have?
On
Android? Mine stopped working. Mine doesn't do that anymore. It used to.
actually, I'm not sure. No one called me from my board on this phone, but the phone I had before my mission.
Okay.
But I just thought that was cool.
Yeah. It's cool.
Do we want to see?
It's a lot. Sweet. So Dan, would you okay if I sent you a list of people that we need added?
Yeah,
They might need to be added in chunks. And if people don't respond, we might need to email them twice and be like, please respond, so we don't run out of invitations.
What do you want me to do?
Would you like to help with? You know tech, right? Could you install the tech on your computer and figure out how hard it is to get it and find a template for us to use for like documentation?
Yeah, what kind of template?
Let's say we're making a requirements document. I don't know, what type of document do we need to write? Don't know yet. I want to get
Proposal
people
for funding?
proposal for funding. Nah, maybe I won't be doing that.
Haven't had that.
It actually seems like a great idea.
You don't want to do that online like I did.
I don't know, should we?
It would be another separate thing you have to kind of log into.
Yeah.
You said 5.
Sweet. You better respond. You pending invitations, just in case. Oh no.
Is there a way to like delete people's stuff?
Yeah, you can, but you can't delete pending invitations.
Oh.
Because that counts against you.
I just know there's a bunch of people. We have like what, 40 or 50 people on there?
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, we only had 5 people actually use it.
Yeah, I'm sure they got really annoyed seeing our notifications.
Or they just deleted the app, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see. Too big of an issue. But there were like several things. What do you, oh, let's add you guys to the wiki. Can I add this? We need wiki. We want to go to space tools.
I think once we have GitLab installed, then we're on like configuration stuff too.
Oh, there's gonna be so much of that. It's gonna be gross, but.
So does Trello integrate directly with it, or is it a similar Trello product?
It's a similar Trello product
But it's
in
not
GitLab. Yeah. So I think it's, I think it's in the free
Should I
version.
put my real name or can I put
On what? Oh, I want to be able to tell who people are.
maybe Dr.
You can do it by nickname as long as you added your full name. You can click on their name. And
Like, oh sweet, you joined along with 2 others. Sweet.
Dr. Withers.
Dr. Withers. Where have I seen that before? Is that your email address? Okay. You've been on the IEEE email list for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I have. I think I'm on it twice.
Yeah. Look at all of these groups.
Or you just like.
No, my middle name starts with an I.
Oh.
There are so many random groups. Brayden, you made it.
Yeah.
This is the less, you might be less interested in this team. We're the group that's going to be trying to manage all the team. Yeah. What's that? Did you say something? Oh, okay. Like we're lab management.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out how we manage our code repos, how we're going to manage team communication. So yeah, we can add you to the Slack channel right now if you like.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay.
Currently, I had one parts machine and it literally had a one screw hole and that was it.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Longer than I expected.
That's
Okay.
kind of annoying to me.
Yeah, it's I think it's confusing.
Yeah, I didn't
I
get
always
that
do the
first.
same thing.
I don't know if my passwords are the same.
Bum, ba-dum, ba-bum.
I have the desktop app, so I just don't have to sign into it.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see it?
I mean, well, but you have to sign in. Do you only use the desktop one?
Yeah, I don't want it on my
It's
phone.
Peter?
Too many notifications.
Peter? Okay, Ted,
I can always just
Dan,
shut the-
Spencer, and Derek. Okay. What else can we do to make this team great? No. Yeah, there you go. I knew I should have written down a list because I was just like, there's so much stuff to look into. If all of you guys could start reading up on GitLab, and I know I probably won't convert anyone to it yet. I think I'm still the only one that really thinks it's gonna be great. But that'll be good. Learning Linux is also good. What's that? And then the wiki. I need the mouse.
Oh.
So everyone should try, if you guys could try to get onto the wiki and sign in, I'll then have access to add you. So I need you to try once, I think. Is that how it works?
What?
How do I get, I'm trying to remember how to add you guys to the wiki.
I just logged in.
It worked? Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And it just worked.
Because it's just by.
I just logged in with my USU login info.
Here's all our passwords and nicknames. What is this person posting?
Oh dear. Okay. Oh, I have to go right now because dinner's ready. I'm just having so much fun. Yeah.
Does anybody want to go see the lab and help me carry stuff downstairs?
Yeah, you guys should go check it out. Can you show Ted the server?
Wait, yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I'll be in touch. I'll make a team called the Lab Management Team on Slack and download it on your phone, and we can talk about stuff.
You do like
Yeah.
sub channels on Slack, so that'd be really nice.
Sub.
Do you have like a?
Teams, and then each team has like a
Oh,
sub-channel.
does someone want to make a what were we about to say?
Well, like,
Was it this? I might be the
there's
same
like
thing.
No, I was gonna say something
General and
different.
Ross.
Can someone make us a Gmail account?
Oh,
Gmail
yeah.
account for the AVC team. Who wants to do that?
I can do that.
Derek is going to make an AVC
You're done
team
with
Gmail account, and we can start using it immediately. Plus, I think we'll need an email server set up